that credibility that whatever you say is true, is a fact, and it is as it is. So accuracy is the key ingredient in news writing and reporting because the public trust is of utmost importance. If a story is not accurate, then you have betrayed the public trust in you as a journalist. And the next is brevity. Now, you are not writing a long journal. In fact, these days, the attention span of most consumers of news or social media users is as little as maybe less than a minute. It's in seconds. So many things are grabbing for your attention. So many things for you to catch up with. So for you to gain that attention, you must make sure what you are writing is not in long form. It's as short as possible, in few paragraphs. In few paragraphs, and like okay, we'll come to that. The pyramid of news writing, the most important information first, so that people don't need to read to the end except they are engaged. But once they can read the first, second, third paragraph, I think they must have understood what you're trying to say, and if they want to go further, they can now read to the end. But at least uh, brevity is key, so that you don't lose your readers from your first paragraph. Then also clarity. Uh, you need to make sure the facts are presented in a way that people can understand. Uh, that you witness an incident. Let me use an example of a social media post that you are the scene of an event, whether it's an event, it's an accident, it's something happening, something breaking, something major, fire, disaster, tragedy, or it may be something happening, celebration of life, party, whatever, and you want to make a video. If the video is about 2 3 minutes long, people won't watch to the end, you know. So you can always break them. So you want to make a post, you are live at so, you are describing the scene you want people to watch. You're narrating what you are showing the audience. You know, in a minute or two, you've ended it. Maybe to do them in series. Because even uploading them and the data it consumes is a turn off. So if it's something that is beyond 2 3 minutes, or maybe 4 5 MB, 10 MB, that someone can just, okay, let me check what is happening. It's People don't get to engage that kind of content. So the same way it is for social media posts, is also the same way it is also for publication for mass media. That's like the ABC of news reporting: accuracy, brevity, and clarity. Now, after going through the rudiments of news writing, how do you now define? Is it just that you just write anything? How do you define what makes a story newsworthy? The first is, you need to look for, because I'm trying to now link it with the main discourse of the day, which is citizens journalism. The the first thing to consider is about watching out for stories that are impactful. Now, when I mean stories that are impactful, it doesn't mean it has to be a earth-shaking story. You don't you build your way to the top, so you don't start from the top. You know, you could also look around your community. You could look around where you are, your clusters of friends and association, those you relate with, and um, try to service that audience. It's from um, it's from getting better at little that you now graduate into something major, something that maybe serves the whole local government, the whole state, and that could even be a national report. And what are examples of things that are the stories that are impactful? Um, it, it is like the the element of the news story must be something that readers can take away. So it's not like, you are not just relaying gossip. Somebody has divorced the wife, the marriage is broke down. You want to give them something extra. So it's like the why, the what, the where. So beyond. Okay, let me take for example the story about two faces or two baba and the wife, Annie. It's everywhere. They themselves made the post, and when it was like, is it true? Is it fake? He made another video to say, I stand by what I said, and stands. So that is already in the space. But you could be fortunate to have a contact or a friend, or to know someone who knows someone who is close to any of the two parties, and you could get some inside details of what actually led to this, how long they've been managing their issues, what were the things they were trying to hide, what are the things they were trying to manage that got overboard and they felt we need to move our separate ways. You know, so those extra details, it doesn't have to be in long form. Now I will link it up to solutions journalism in a short while. But at least the first thing is you are going out of your way to find, to dig for the news, and you are trying to create your sources. You know, it could even be the people you know personally. It could just be maybe these personalities you follow on social media, and one or two people have something to say about this, and you check the comments and you're able to collate a few paragraphs together. So it will make the report different from just what everybody has already known, that so has happened. A divorce is already on, or somebody is in the rehab, or somebody is trying to change his mind, or so that is taking the story further. That is taking the story further. Now, if you are not looking at the impact side of it, so you can even leave the main issue and now take the matter to a sociologist or a psychologist or a marriage counselor. Yeah, it's been getting too rampant these days. A lot of people, a lot of celebrities are making a mess of the marriage institution. What is really happening? Now, the psychologist or the marriage counselor can now, from the experience gathered in the course of study, of talking to people, of engaging couples with such issues, can now make some bold statements, not accurate statements, but some inside details of what couples face. You could put that together and it forms a story. Now, it is impactful because those who are going to read it will want to know, what can I do to avoid being another Two Face? What can I do, or how can I manage myself, even whether married or not? What are the things I need to know to make relationship last and work and last longer? That is you going behind the story, going beyond the story now to look for impactful reports. So uh, that's about impact. Then there's also another one about as part of the ingredient of news reporting. There's also something about proximity. Now the thing is, it has to relate to people. So for instance, now um, if you find we are in the social media age, so reports fly from across the world. So if you're telling me about someone in Malawi or Kenya that has the same problem with Two Face, it doesn't resonate because of proximity. It's what we call Afghanistanism in journalism. You have left the immediate environment and take us beyond our scope of reach. So proximity, even if you are going to cite sources, quote people, there should be people related to the environment, related to the story, related to the region, so that it doesn't look like an abstract report. Then you have Now this one is also uh, by the time I come to solutions journalism, I will make a clear distinct conflict. You know, it's always the norm. They say bad news sells. Bad news sells. And if a story is not about bad news or something bad happening to people, people don't it doesn't trend. Let me use that word. People don't engage it, and it's because is the human nature to always not celebrate now, but to always elevate conflict. Just take an example. You want to sit down to watch a movie. If there is no conflict in that story, you are not engaged. You are not interested. You just tune off after a few minutes. But it's the conflict that keeps you going. You know, it's a conflict that is actually that is fueling the suspense before you know, oh, this is where they were going. Oh, this is the end of the story. You know, so that's also the same with reporting, with journalism. You know, if there's no conflict, and what do I mean by conflict? Something controversial. You know, something that has to do. It may not necessarily be violence, although sometimes when you say tree die, plane crash, like people are tuning to the developments in the United States with the return of President Donald Trump. You know, executive orders here, immigration. Even there was one that came up again yesterday in the United Kingdom from Kemi Bachinot. You know, so people are interested in so what is actually happening, what's happening to the world. You know, everywhere you turn to, you talk about Nigeria, it's like what's happening to PDP, what's happening to PC, what's happening to the president, what's happening to Milocon. There's hardship, there's the economy is, it's not smiling. You know, that those are ingredients for journalism, for news reports. You know, if Nigeria becomes as good as an Eldorado state, then there's really nothing much to write about. That sort of, in that context. You know, so it's the conflict. Not as if we celebrate bad news, but it's actually what engages journalism. Now, I will. Then there's also what we call the human interest. That was like the example I gave about Two Face and Co. Then there's another aspect of it, which is novelty or oddity. Something has to be strange. Something has to be, has to be bizarre. You know, like this famous quote that if a dog bites a man, it's no news. It's regular. It's run of the mill. But when a man bites a dog, that is news. So events that are strange, the oddities in everyday existence, everyday activity, are what people will be interested in, and are what and are stories people would like to know and read about. You know, so let me now quickly move on to solutions journalism, which is an aspect I want us to actually now focus on. I just had to skim through the rudiments of reporting and journalism so that you can have an idea of where we stand. Then going forward, what are we to look out for? And that is now um, this new model of journalism, which is solutions journalism. And what is solutions journalism? You know, the last point I just dropped was when I talked about conflicts. Bad news sells. People want to read about bad things happening to people, tragedy, conflicts, bad stories, things not going. Because most times when things are going good, it tends to be like it's a PR, public relations. But in solutions journalism, we are still focusing on the conflicts, on the tragedy, on the on the negatives, but it's more about the way forward. And I mentioned a bit of it when I used the example of the prevalence of divorce among celebrities these days, single motherhood and co. And I use that example of going out of just reporting what the blogs have said, the gossips, the Insta blogs, and go to actually sit down with experts in the field of human psychology to explain what is actually happening and what is the way forward. That is just a typical example of what solutions journalism is. And what is solutions journalism? It is reporting not about the societal problems, but responses and reactions to societal problems. That is the difference. You know, bad news sells. There's an accident. A building has collapsed. This has happened. That is the straightforward regular news. But someone who is interested in solutions journalism, and it's good you understand this concept so that going forward, even in your normal day-to-day life, in what you do, being positive about every situation is key. Now this one goes beyond journalism, but let's stay with journalism, you know, and why is it very important? There was a study that was made recently. I think I will include it uh, in my presentation that will share later. About negative stories that the public generally these days they are news fatigued. And what does that mean? It means that they are tired of bad news, of negative stories. So that's why you see that these days people who are content creators seems to be the new influencers in society. They have the crowd, the mass followership, the fans, because people are tired. So you scroll on social media, this news here, you see a report from Punch, it's bad news. You see something from the Guardian, it's bad news. You see something from Mr. Blog, it's gossip about something bad, something but you just want to you are tired, so something different. So you now begin to consume more of skits. That at least enlivens the spirit, makes you laugh, makes you forget the present situation, the gloom in the economy, in society, whatever challenges this one is going through. So people consume more of jokes, comedy, content, something just to make, because generally the consumption of the public is changing from news consumption, which is principally 80%, 90% bad news, to something that could make them feel good, a kind of feel good report. So it's like you have not wasted your time. Even with that, so sometimes when tragedy happens, when reports happen, you just want to like, okay, what has happened again? Oh, another person has died. Oh, so thing has happened to another person. You just move and just sometimes you just read the headline and you're off. So, so instead of going off to the next bad news, you want to look for something to make me happy, just to take me out of this foul mood. So as it is in the social media space, so it is in modern trend of journalism. Because the public generally is fatigued by too many negative stories. People talking about problems. You mentioned Tinubu, it's about the economy, it's about Naira, it's about inflation, it's about hardship, you know, cost of living. You know, people want to go away from that. What else can we do? At least we are already in it. Whether you are in the world, whether you're in this country, or you want to jackpot, anywhere you go to, there are issues. Whether it's jackpot to Canada, to America, to so it's just like the making the best of the situation you are in. So instead of now adding more sort to injury by the work we do as journalists, it doesn't mean everything. It doesn't mean you ignore developing stories or developing reports or breaking news, which are most primarily will also be bad news. But there is a conscious effort to go beyond the regular, to at least do something positive. And that is now talking more about the solutions than the problem. Talking more about the solutions than the problem. A good way to start, a good way to start is to look at what is happening, what is something that is working in the community. Now, if you talk about maybe local government, maybe the state, maybe politics, it's always the corruption here, godfatherism here, violence here, thuggery. But in the area where you are, there must be something that is working. There must be, so that thing makes it not just social journalism, but makes it in names. So if, let's say, for instance, we already know the issue Nigeria has from any part of the country with electricity. Now you now have a community where um, now this is not whether you are in band A or band B, but there seems to be very little um, disturbance, very little issues of irregular supply of power. You know, making a report about what is actually the story behind why this particular community enjoys light 247 is a solution journalism. In fact, it could even influence more people to move to that area. People want to know what is actually why in the whole of Ibadan. Ibadan is maybe 4 hours, 5 hours. IBDC is not very reliable. But there's it could be you may find out that it could not even be that community or that area is connected to the national grid. It may just be maybe there's a company in that location or there's a plant or factory, and the company is trying to do maybe as part of its CSR, community engagement, corporate social responsibility. Just like, okay, apart from doing the regulars, the giving people money, maybe constructing boreholes, like because most companies these days don't rely on the electric supply from the grid. So they do their own IPP power projects, their power plants, whether it's solar, is a power plant, a generator, or gas, And they feel okay. We have more than we can consume or need for the plant for the production. The community around, let's use that as our CSR, and establish a few communities around the street, or I've read some stories about that. Are you so that may be the secret behind why a particular community is having 24/7 electricity. That kind of report, though others will see it as a PR to the company, but it's actually solutions journalism. And what are you trying to do? You're trying to encourage companies everywhere. It may not be giving people light free of charge or something, or maybe at a discount or subsidized rate. It may be just be encouraging companies to, despite the economic situation in the country, to still keep a little aside to service the communities around them where they are even generating their income from. And those are the little stories that can be impactful. You just maybe what you stumbled on was like, oh, this particular area they have like 247. It is why digging into it, you now discover, oh, they are being supplied not by a disco but by a private, even not even the company, may just be an NGO, or maybe a philanthropist, or maybe a politician, or maybe somebody donated. Or why is this community so lighted every evening? Who is behind the street lights? It may not be the government. It may just be maybe one rich one somewhere, one philanthropist, or maybe someone who wants to get involved in politics, and it feels, let me start from my community, let me start from my base, and it's doing things to the community. You write reports about such people or such activities. Those are solutions journalism. That is taking a shift from the regular bad news that is everywhere. From the. So let me now uh, go details into solutions journalism. But from with the explanation I gave, you can understand the concepts. It doesn't mean your responsibility as a journalist, as an information manager to inform. Does not mean you ignore the bad news. But in every bad news, there's always a solution. So training your mind to go after the solution in the reporting of the bad news makes your work different from every other person who is just focused on the tragedy, you know. And it will even make people will engage more with your report, whether you post it on your personal social media pages or on the platform of the medium you are engaged with. There will be more engagement in that kind of stories because you have provided readers. Readers don't feel that they've wasted their time and data. You know, you've provided with something they can think about, they can work on, that can guide them. That's why sometimes when you see reports that starts with how to anything that how to on anything, maybe it's how to jackpot or how to attend a visa interview, how to how to manage finance, how to anything because from the headline it's already told you you are taking something away. You can now read it and it could be trash or it could be, oh, I already know this. But at least you are already glued to that content because of the solution oriented intention of that report, which is straight from the headline. You're like, no, this seems to be like there's some way forward. There's some this will my time, to read and go through, you know. So it's reports that are engineered towards solutions, towards addressing problems, not just us reporting the problem and expanding the problem. And he said, according to an expert, also raised issues, but giving solutions. And in such manner, it even helps government because it's like you are also addressing the aspect of the fourth estate of the realm. That says where you have the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary, and so being the voice of the masses, you're actually carrying that responsibility to also the leaders to be aware of what the masses are saying and what they feel could be done right to address this problem. So let me go through some more details of how to engage your audience with your report that is focused on the solutions journalism. Like I said earlier, solutions journalism is different from the typical news articles, which I've explained in details, because you are going a step further to not just tell us the problem, but to actually give. It may just be an aspect, or it may just be an expert opinion or an expert view of how the problems can be addressed. Our readers can gain more knowledge and insight about the issue. Readers or the public is better informed about the subject of discourse. There's more interest and increased awareness about what it is you're writing about, and you are contributing a solution to what everybody is talking about and complaining about. And there's no better way to be a sort of an influencer than when you focus more on solutions journalism. It may not be in the fold of people who have thousands of followers, millions of um, social media followers, but in that report that you're doing, you are in a way influencing the opinion of not just your readers, or even the authorities who get to also come across it. People are inspired about your report. Like I said, it's not just bad news. People don't see it and they say, oh, another tragedy. But people go through what you prepared, and they're like, okay, I think this is something to think about. Maybe when I come across this some other time, I will remember what this expert said, or what was said in this piece I read. So that way you are engaging your audience on something that is impactful. And let me now talk about the issue of how to now carve a niche. How to now carve a niche. Now I said earlier that a journalist is somebody who must have a little knowledge about everything. But because you are supposed to have a knowledge about everything, you can't be a jack of all trades. You need to cultivate expertise in something, and there are so many field of endeavors that you could actually devote your time to. You could go into development, you could go into politics, you could go into health. In fact, health is a key one. Any aspect of health, people want to know about. You know, just like these days when people joke and say, if you want to sell anything to a man, just entice him first with sorry about even being awkward, entice him with something about manpower. The man is interested. So the same way too about health, anything about how to live long, how to stay healthy, how to keep fit, how to avoid diseases, how to, even if you have some challenges, how to manage them. People want to know, want to read more, want to, so you can just pick any aspect of human endeavor as the first, then now go in depth, carve a niche, so that if you do, let's say, 10 reports in a month, they should be able to say, oh, this person is um, is good in this area. Maybe out of 10 reports, maybe 5 or 6 or even 8 or even all the 10 is on your subject of interest. You know, and you can also devote time to general interest, maybe news affairs, current affairs, foreign news, um, sports, entertainment. But the aim is to actually be an expert in something. You can be an expert in entertainment, you can be an expert in celeb reporting, you can be an expert in sports. Even the sport, you can now focus on one. Maybe you want to focus on football, you want to focus on tennis, athletics. You now go in depth. So everything you do, the people you talk to, the people you follow on social media, the stories that interest you, the ones you are passionate about, is all about getting details, insights, information, latest releases on that aspect you are focused on. You know, and it also determine the people you talk to, the people you engage with, to get details from them to add to what you are working on or writing and present to the public. And uh, let me also add that there's something you need to there's something you need to watch out for. In my experience, I've noticed that when you engage with people, now I mean sources now, people give information, is always very important. Let me know if I'm within time or I need to wrap up. Uh, so when you engage with people, uh, sometimes you need to be able to double check facts and figures. So when you see something somewhere, the first the first thing that comes to you should be, is this true? You need to ask yourself that question. So in answering that question, you now have to go out of your way. So in answering that question, you now have to go out of your way to find out if it's true or not. So in situations whereby you are relating with people who give information, or maybe you read something on one blog or one person's status or so, you don't take it as gospel truth unless it is confirmed. That is very important. So if someone says, I heard this, if the person is not an authority, it should be very important for you to double check and verify. Verify. Now, if you do your bit and you present it as set, now because the person is an authority, that's the person that will be held responsible if it's fake news. So let's say, for instance, someone works in government as a special advisor to a minister or to a governor and makes a post. You your first duty is to double check that information. Now, if in the course of double checking that information you come across a counter fact, you have to present both. That though
Hmm.
social person in government has said this,
Even
but,
ako ba magiging yun?
but an expert,
Magiging yun. Because ako
somebody
magiging
who should know, somebody
we
who
are
should
now
be
with
security,
you have friend
is also
and
said
either
this.
that's what I said.
So you
And then I'm
present
going to
both
oh,
facts
then you are doing the
to
machine
the
almost.
public and let the public make up their make up their minds on who is saying the truth or not. It's better that way than to just run with social person has said this. So it's either you have somebody else to either confirm and corroborate what this person has said, or the person gives a contrary view to say no, I disagree. So in that way, whoever is right or wrong, nobody comes for you as the peddler of fake news. They go to the person directly, you know. And it could be there are times. Let me give an example. There are times it's not everything. For instance, Peter Obi post on his social media, on his Twitter handle, that is correct, that is true. And there are times when he had to apologize to say I was misinformed, I was misled by a report I read. You know, there are times when public figures have had to pull down their content, their posts. So that shows you that nobody is infallible. Anybody can be wrong. Anybody can pass false information. But your own first duty is to verify. So in the process of verifying, you can even be the one to spot the fake news by an authority uh, disclaimer that we just heard so, and they say no, it's not true. From our report, what we have here, this is the situation of reports. That way, you are presenting both what the first contact said and what your source has added as a verification. So whether you're doing straight reporting or you are doing solutions journalism, like I said, accuracy is key. Verification is important. If you are in doubt, the best thing is to drop and leave out. If you are not sure of your facts, there's no award. There's no award for breaking news. Fine, it could lead to more engagement. You are the first to report this. More people will be quoting you or lift from your platform or from your post or from your reports. But it's safer and better to be on the side, to err on the side of caution and be on the side of truth, fairness, and accuracy. Because if you break a false news, let's say for instance now, there have been so many times when they've reported that uh, the husband of Joke Silva, Olu Jacob, is dead. At least in my recent memory, I think I can count three to four, three to four instances in the last 2 years or more that has been reported that Olu Jacob is dead. Only to say, oh, it's fake, it's false news. So that's an example of we hear something, find the urge in you, the enthusiasm in you as a journalist is to say something or to report first. Be the first to break the news, but only be the first to break the news that is confirmed to be safe, to be on the safe side. If you break fake news, break false reports, it dents your reputation, it dents your image, it dents even the publication you are you are reporting with or for also takes it from that from the public trust and credibility. So whether it's straight news, um, whether it's what I would say solutions journalism, impactful reporting, reports that affect society. The first thing to be aware of is accuracy. Brevity, clarity, those ones comes as added ingredient, but accuracy and genuineness of the information. But there's no point in saying how to combat so, and what you are prescribing is for maybe cancer, not not another type of illness. So it's like you've lost your audience, you've downgraded yourself in the eye of your readers, and they will take subsequent reports with a pinch of salt. That's why credibility is key, very important, and it's the soul of what you do as a journalist. Let me take a pause here and take a few questions if they are before we wrap it up for today. Any questions? I want to believe I was audible enough and clear. If there are no questions.
Thanks so much, Mr. Templar, right? Hello, sir. I don't
Yeah.
know if you can. So
Okay.
this is actually questions, and this is good for us to know other aspects of journalism, particularly solution journalism, the situation whereby we only have bad or sad news every day. Yeah. Just want to kind of ask something, or let me see a clarification based on the pillars of journalism, solution journalism. So the insights, the response, the limitation, and the what is the fourth one? There's insight, there's response, there's limitation, and is it challenge? So I forget the other answer. Is it possible for us to have, let's say, uh, 3 out of the 4? Let's say in the solution analysis, for instance, in a situation whereby we have 3 out of these 4 pillar, can we say we still have to go through it? Because at times, if let's say we're creating a studio story to and we want to submit it to uh, solution network to the particular thing they're asking for. And if some of these people are not there, so they might not accept to be surgery. So I just want to need some clarification.
Okay. Thank you. Saying I'm not sure if I heard you clearly because there was some feedback from my hand. Are you talking about the skills where I mentioned about determination, confidence, perseverance, and enthusiasm?
Yes, I'm not actually. It's about the pillar of solution journalism. My question is
Okay,
that
okay,
in a situation whereby
okay.
part of this pillar and some of it or one of it omitted or it's not in a particular story, can we say that that kind of story is also a solution story?
Okay. Yeah. So let me clarify that. It's not that every report you write must be solutions journalism. It's not like every report, but the thing is a way you are viewing it as a way of life. So because there are some reports where um, what you are concerned with first is to break the news. Something has happened. Oh, there's a plane crash. You go after the report and what people are saying, eyewitnesses, uh, friends of the victims, those who know, blah blah blah, So it's you now take a back seat after you've done the job of reporting it. So like, okay, what extra can I do? So it's not in all report, but the thing is, you take it as as like your guide. So sometimes by the time you are digging or looking for sources or information to um report on that solutions journalism, you may meet some brick wall or some obstacles, and you just leave it until maybe some other time when there's a clear headway. So you shouldn't make that discourage you. If it's possible to make all your reports solutions based journalism, that's fine. But clearly it won't be in all cases. It won't be in all cases. But the ones you give your energy to, your time, time spent in researching, time spent in calling up contacts, time spent in interviewing people who are in the field, that kind of report you put together will be different from the ones you just called from a press release or from somebody's blog or from somebody's post or maybe a research, just run with it. So it's not in all reports, but it's something that you have a conscious effort to, that while you are reporting the news and going after the developing stories and breaking news, which is most likely 80-90% bad news, you are trying to find and carve a niche for yourself in doing reports that people will refer to because it's a solutions-based journalism. So it may be out of maybe 5 reports you do, maybe 2 or 3 will be solutions-based. But the other ones that are not solution-based does not mean you've wasted your time. No, you've just done your job as a reporter or as a journalist. But it's just like a conscious effort that this is where the world is going to. So in that way, and especially when you are now devoted to a field of somewhere you are now an expert in, you will now become a go-to person. And if you watch people who trend on social media, particularly on that, people who talk about health, some may it just be maybe on culinary matters, maybe on cooking, and they're expert in cooking, and they tell you how to mix this recipe with that recipe, how to make this kind of stew, kind of and just do content and do video and see engagement, because it's somebody wants to know. Somebody wants to know. So you should view it in that light. It may take a while, it may take some hard work, but over time, you too, you will see the results. The report you just write on general news and the ones you write that are solutions based, the engagement you get, there will be difference. So it's just like a way of life. This is what I want to do. I just want to, just like somebody who says, I don't want to hear bad news. I just want to be happy. I don't want anything to depress me. So if I'm such a person, if he's scrolling through social media, once you see all those ones that they say viewers discretion, you just flip. You don't want to even check what is there that will spoil your mood. This one that they are warning you of viewers discretion. But you see the ones that will make you laugh, that will liven your spirit. You can even replay the video as many times as you want. So that's the way it is. So it's just like a conscious effort for you to focus more on the solutions-based reporting, because that way you also help yourself. You get more insight, you are more knowledgeable, you have more contact, because many of them are not from your head. They are from people you have called up, people you have read, people that have talked to you, and people you go back to again and again over time, and it's a report that can be useful in so many years to come. You can just do a report and just post it online. Maybe there will now be a need for it, maybe in 6 months' time, in some years' time. Or somebody somewhere is now also maybe doing a project or working or looking for answers to solution, and just go on Google and just type how to avoid, and as part of the research research results from Google, your article will be there. and the people will read it, and okay, somebody has mentioned this, So that's but if it's something happened last week, something happened almost every day, and people have a short news is so the lifespan of news is so short, And before, okay, was it not 2 3 weeks ago, about the guy who killed someone in Abuja, Nasarawa also. Things have happened after that. Just for a week or a few days, people have moved on. Even though the matter is in court, the guy is going on, has been denied bail, is answering to charges. People are no longer interested. Maybe until the day the court will give their final judgment, and that may take another year or two before somebody now remember. Oh, that was the case of the guy who butchered the girl in Abuja, January of 2025. So people move on to the next thing. Now, what do I want to do with that kind of story or gist that will go to Google and be searching for? But when you do something that is solutions based, because of the insight and knowledge that was shared, that we'll be able to put together, somebody somewhere will need it. Search for it on Google or see it somewhere on any of the social media platforms. Read it, keep it aside, or say, okay, I'll refer to this later. That way, you are already building an engagement for yourself. Someone, this writer, I know this writer. He wrote about something on. Let me use it now. I wrote about something on prostate cancer. And the report was good. I recommended it to someone who I know needs it. The another time you write again, maybe write on maybe breast cancer or not even cancer. Maybe just write about general well-being. General well-being. How to stay healthy and fit, and that kind of. So you're already building your own followers. They may not directly follow you on your own personal pages, or some way go out of their way, consume the content on the platform you're writing for, and now still go to your personal page to engage with you directly. So it's not a 100 meters dash. It's like a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's a lifetime way of life. So, and that is a culture that you now also an attitude you put to your life too. That solutions focused, positivity. When you spread positivity, you dwell less on negativity. So it's just a way of life, generally speaking. So I think so. There will be some issues. So it's not like we are making a meal. That's the difference. Now it's not like you want to make a banana. This must be there. You must have the water. You must have the gari. You must have the soup. You must have this. So, and if one or two ingredients are not available, you can't make the meal may not be complete. It's not like that. It's as much as you can gather, as much, and the little you can gather, but that is of news value that readers will appreciate. So it doesn't have to be a lengthy report. It's not a research. It's not a study. A few paragraphs. People have short attention span, but you can pass the message. There's clarity. There's brevity. And there's accuracy. Quote a few sources, talk to a few experts in a few paragraphs, and you wrap up the story. If the story is getting too long, you can serialize it to be continued. Maybe part one, do part two, so that you engage followers like that. People want to read. Okay, what's the next one? What's the next one? I know that. So in that way, is all the ingredients or rudiments of fact of the reporting and journalism may not have to be complete, but the key elements of news reporting must not be missing, and that is clarity. That is accuracy, fact. If it's not factual, it's just a beautiful nonsense. You have just written a beautiful prose that will be flagged as fake news or as fake reports. So accuracy is very important. Being factual, being sure of the facts. The other ones are just elements in style of writing, just to garnish the meal you're serving. But if the cocoa of the meal is lacking, which is it's like a food without taste. At the end of the day, people just disregard it as another fake news. I hope I was able to answer your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for that response. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other comment or observation or question?
Yes, good evening, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, John.
All right. So I like to ask a question. When gathering information for your content, there are various sources. We have the primary source, we have the secondary source. So if we are going for the primary source and we want to really extract information from, especially if it's a human being, people, and want to extract information from them, how can we make them want to give us what we need? Is there a way to maybe entice them or to you know yeah, present the kind of benefit for them? How do you think one can reach out to your source and get the right information from them?
Yeah, I mentioned the other time that journalism itself is something someone is trying to cover or hide. You know, so in such situation, depending on how relevant that information you want to get from the primary sources important to the story you want to write, it's either you leave out if you are not sure, or you double check with another source. So usually there must be a lead. There must be a lead is like an idea of what you are looking for or the information you are seeking. But the thing is, you need facts or evidence or documents, or details of that idea. So you are now raising that question with a primary source who might be reluctant to release it. So it's either the report you have, you try to double check from other sources or make research, check on social media, on other available open sources, or go to the primary source itself, maybe the organization, maybe they are try to check if you can have access to their there's something about depending on what you are looking out for. There's something about there's something about I'm not very good in accounting or mathematics, but there's something about audited reports. There are so many things that are hidden or stories that you can dig out from audited reports. In fact, it can even be not as current as the year you are seeking that information. Maybe the previous year, some years back. Just going through and you just see trend. It's just the same way with our national budget. How organizations like Budget has been able to discover budget tracker and have been able to discover budget padding. You know, because year after year you see a ministry buying printer, buying vehicles, buying this, allocating billions for refreshment, for recharge card, and you see all those items. You gone are the days where they just put miscellaneous. Now they just put vague budget line, and you just see social figure. For instance, now you take maybe a ministry, 2022, there was a budget line for purchase of vehicles, billions. 2023 budget, there was purchase of vehicle stationaries, printers. 2024 budget, purchase of vehicles, stationaries, printers. So you'll be wondering, do they change office every year? So sometimes if the primary source is unwilling to release information, you can either cross-check through open data or through people familiar with that information, maybe like a competitor who will be so happy to share the gist he or she knows about what the person was trying to hide information. That one too, you take it as maybe as a lead. It's just as something to follow on. You don't take it as a primary report. Then you make your own research, look for people who can authenticate the lead you have. The lead you have is maybe just a small piece of information, but which is not clear, or which there's no data to back up. If the primary source is withholding information, there will be people in the industry or even in the same company who are aggrieved. And sometimes there's this thing in reporting. Someone will be willing, even the primary source will be willing to share that information on the condition of anonymity. Don't disclose your source, don't disclose the identity of who is telling you this, but this is what I know. And as a journalist, you have to respect that. If someone has submitted something to you, information, data, document, gist, updates on a particular matter, and added that caveat, please, on the condition of anonymity, you also respect that. At least in a way, whatever you have, maybe it's recorded or is transferred to you as a document, or maybe it's a voice conversation, which you must record as your own evidence. You have to keep, should in case there's an issue with it, because sometimes sources can be very funny, they can deny you. But when you have them on tape, you have them recorded, you have a document shared, you have an history of your conversation. Even if you go ahead with the report as anonymous or a source or according to inside details, without disclosing or endangering whoever is giving that information. But should in case there's a question that will arise from it subsequently, you already have your facts and data and your backup evidence, your recording, your thread of emails or chats or messages or evidence of phone calls to back up the report you did. So you can. So it depends. Not all sources will be willing to share. Some may be hard, some may be difficult, but you just keep persisting or look for a way around. But if after looking around, there's nobody to support your lead or your the info you are pursuing, whether from inside, from outside, from competitors, from people in the same industry, in the same field, or even from research. Maybe check online and check what others have said about this particular thing, then you just leave out. It's safer to leave out than to publish and now be exposed that what you said was initially not true.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, John.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. Do we have any other further questions? Hello, are we still here? Do we have any further questions for Mr. Tope Templar? Okay. Since you have any further questions, thank you so much, sir, for joining us once again, for honoring our invites. God bless you, sir. And quick announcements for the team leads who are here. Please send in your reviews, your reviews. I'm already being communicated to you guys. So we hope to get that so that we can update your for the week. So thank you so much for joining.